In all armed struggles, there exists what we might call the point of no return. Almost always it is marked off by a huge and all-inclusive repression which engulfs all sectors of the colonial people. These are the words of revolutionary anti-colonial writer Frantz Fanon, writing in The Wretched of the Earth in 1961. But it could just as well be about Gaza in 2023. Fanon was a trained psychiatrist born in colonial Martinique who became disenchanted with the racism he encountered in his life and work. He eventually moved to Algeria and supported its struggle for liberation from France, writing a number of seminal works on the psychology of racial domination and the struggle for liberation. The remarkable thing about reading Fanon now, more than 60 years after his death, is how relevant his ideas are to the struggle of Palestinians under Israeli settler colonialism. He writes, "The colonial world is a Manichaean world. At times this Manichaeism goes to its logical conclusion and dehumanizes the native, or to speak plainly, it turns him into an animal." Israeli officials, including the defense minister, have used this very language about Palestinians. In Fanon's description of the anti-colonial struggles in Algeria, it feels as if you are reading about Palestine, especially in terms of the violence deployed by the settler army and the dehumanization it inflicts on the colonized. Fanon wrote, "The violence which has ruled over the ordering of the colonial world, which has ceaselessly drummed the rhythm for the destruction of native social forms, that same violence will be claimed and taken over by the native at the moment when, deciding to embody history in his own person, he surges forward into the forbidden quarters." We must understand, and this is me speaking, Fanon was not writing for a white European audience. He was writing for people in the midst of an anti-colonial revolutionary struggle. And so he doesn't try and hide or dilute his meaning. Jean-Paul Sartre, in his preface to Frantz Fanon's work, wrote, "Violence in the colonies does not only have for its aim the keeping of enslaved men at arm's length, it seeks to dehumanize them." And Sartre wrote explicitly of the violence of revolt. The rebel's weapon is the proof of his humanity. And then, the reaction of the colonial regime to armed resistance. He says, "The colonial army becomes ferocious. The country is marked out. There are mopping up operations, transfers of population, reprisal expeditions, and they massacre women and children. The new man knows this. He considers himself as a potential corpse, that he will be killed, and he accepts this risk. He's sure of it. Others, not he, will have the fruits of victory." This could be a description of Israel's genocidal war in Gaza since October. And it's very hard to read both Fanon and Sartre and not think of this war. The struggle in Algeria ended with the defeat of France and the independence of Algeria. We are at a point of no return for Israel and its Western backers. Palestinians are at the mercy of the world's most powerful military machine, armed by the United States, with only Iraqi militias and the Yemeni Houthis backing them with a blockade of the Red Sea and strikes on US forces. But politically, in the global south and among the public in the west, the cause of Palestine has never been stronger, and the West's position never so unpopular.